that you see there with me is the one and only Jeff Goodman, the Field of 68's biggest Washington Nationals fan, if you didn't know.
I guess that's what this is. I don't even know. I just buy hats because I like how they look.
It's a good. Hey, look, the Nats. There were a lot of issues with the Nats. My wife used to work for the Nats. They let's just say that they aren't. That organization does not necessarily treat their employees the best way. So I have
not pay her on time, Rob? Did they not pay her on time?
It was on time. It was just let's just say they pay you for a 40-hour work week and expect a 90-hour work week.
That's what you pay me for. So it's okay. I only get paid for 40 and I work more than 40 for you.
Yeah. I mean, you say that right now. I'm the one that texted you at 2:30 in the morning asking you why you never end podcasts. Can we talk about that? I'm putting you on the spot. We're now on live on the stream. Why when you record pods, do you never end them? I want you guys to understand it's actually low-key hilarious because what Kidman will do was he'll just start talking to be like, well, listen, I just want to thank you for the time, but listen, Mark, I got to ask you about this, and you'll just keep going, and then like 5 minutes later, you'll just stop the recording, and it's like you never ended the pod. Why don't you end the podcast? What's going on here?
I don't know. I blame it on Hummel.
I mean, the truth is, you mean to do it, and then you get distracted, and you're like, yeah, I already ended the pod, so we're good to go. So I gotta find a place where there's like a random breath at the end of a sentence. Oh man!
Hey, the Mark View pod was good. So it was very good.
Oh, it was great. Listen, you know what I did? Here's the teaser. I edited out most of it, but I made it very clear the really hilarious Mark Few thing that happened about 45 minutes in. I'm not going to tell you guys what it was, but it's very clear what happened, and it's pretty funny because it's the most Mark Few thing in the history of Mark Few things. All right,
the news, Rob. The breaking news is this is Mark Few's first ever podcast he's ever done.
First ever podcast.
He called me. He wanted to do it with us, not because of me, because of Robbie Hummel. Literally, it had nothing. You could see throughout the podcast how excited he was because he feels like Robbie Hummel should have been a Zag. Like that was his big thing. He's like, he should have been a Zag. I screwed up. I should have got him from Valpo to Spokane.
Yep. All right. So we have a couple games tonight. Nothing great, but some pretty solid.
Three good games. Oh, you're selling this.
Oh, no, hold on. Listen, nothing great, but Duke Syracuse is going to be good. Oregon USC will be a lot of fun, and whatever, another Big 12 matchup that
Cade against Chris Beard. Come on.
You love Chris Beard.
I love Cade.
You love Chris Beard so
Cade
much.
and Mac McClung on the same court. It will be exciting.
It'll be great for the YouTube views. Let's just put it
whatever.
That way. All right. Anyway, we'll get into that, but before we do, we got to talk about Michigan and Ohio State. That was just such an unbelievable basketball game yesterday. The shot making, the intensity, the rivalry, the execution, the fact that we had a coach get caught on the phone taking a call from like the DoorDash guys because they showed up before the end of the game with the food delivery. Oh man, it's just unbelievable. Like what a basketball game. February. Oh, come on. John Mitchell just called me the February Grinch. It is a good slate for a Monday, but it's not.
I agree, John. John, I'm with you 100% on this one.
Yeah. Oh, both of you.
Three good games, and he's complaining. Three really good games.
Both of you settled down. All right. So, Michigan, Ohio State. What are your takeaways? How good is Michigan? How worried should we be about Ohio State? Give me all of the
Not worried at all. Are you kidding? I'm more impressed with Ohio State today than I was yesterday morning. How's that, Rob? I really am. Listen, I never felt like Ohio State was in that upper echelon, even though we had to rank them there because they kept beating good teams. But to me, playing with Michigan, who I think has clearly established themselves as the third best team in college basketball. And oh, by the way, like they're put together, like just the way they're constructed, all of it, on the court, off the court, the coaching staff. I just think they fit together. And again, I really like Michigan because everybody on their team makes an impact. Every single player on their team does something different to help their team win. I mean, obviously, Isaiah Livers is – I don't know who's the best player on the team. I would say it's Livers, Hunter Dickinson one day. Mike Smith was terrific yesterday. John D. Brown was great in the second half. Like, they've just got a bunch of dudes that all make an impact. And again, I love Juwan Howard now. I love him. I don't know if he was on his phone, his notepads, whatever he was checking.
So to answer Sean's question, he asked, "Isn't using a phone during a game illegal?" And yes, it is. The call that it was actually the director of basketball operations. The call he got was with 6 seconds left with the game, with Michigan up by 5. The game was over, and it was from the food delivery service. And like in talking with a whole bunch of people that have that job, what happened there is so far from uncommon. They were like, one guy texted me and he said, I saw the guy on the phone and my immediate reaction was like, well, Michigan's charter just got delayed. Another guy texted me and he said 80% of the games that I coached in, the food delivery got there before the end of the game and our Dobo had to deal with it with like a minute left. So it's
especially in this pandemic, right? It's obviously a lot different because there's no fans. So these guys, it looks a little bit more obvious when they're on the phone because you're only looking at their bench and you don't have shots to the fans or anything like that. So whatever. Who cares? I just thought it was funny. Somebody sent me that photo.
Hilarious. It's so funny that the guy's on the phone and it's like, what's he?
I don't know. Was I the first one that posted that photo? Do you think, or no? Or was it already out?
I have no idea. I don't really
care. A coach sent it to me. Literally a head coach, a high major head coach sent me that photo, and he's like, "Check this out." And I was just like, "Yeah, I'll tweet it out. It's funny." Like,
it's funny. And the Michigan fans are losing their minds about it, but whatever. Yeah. So my biggest takeaway with from this game, well, I guess it was kind of twofold. The first one is I'm kind of having like an internal self debate about Michigan, right? Like I feel like I'm overthinking this, right? On the one hand, I question how good their point guard play is, and I question whether or not Hunter Dickinson can play on the perimeter. And I still kind of feel that way because Ohio State was able to take advantage of that a little bit. But, I mean, Mike Smith had 11 points and 7 assists. Eli Brooks had 17 points, hit 3 huge threes. And Hunter Dickinson was an absolute monster that made like 2 huge plays defending on the perimeter. There were 2 times when E.J. Liddell like beat him off the bounce. One time he was able to block the shot. Another time he was able to change it, and EJ missed a layup at the rim. And he stayed in front of him at the end. Like there was one possession with like a minute left where EJ Liddell tried to break him down off the dribble, and Hunter stayed in front and ended up blocking a jump shot. So maybe I'm just kind of overthinking this. And like
Liddell's the best player on Ohio State in kids.
Yeah. And like the thing is, so you have a team that plays hard, you have a team that's unselfish, you have a team that does all the cliche things that we love to tout, where we say, look, oh, the whole is greater than the sum of the parts or whatever. Well, that's true with Michigan, and they also happen to have like 3 NBA players on that roster. So like maybe I'm just kind of overthinking this, and part of it.
Who's the best NBA player on Michigan's roster? Rob? At the end of the day, in 10 years, who is
Franz? It's not even close. Like I don't even think
you're right.
I don't even think it's
a really good 3D.
Yeah, but you want to hear something crazy? How about this? Hunter Dickinson is 20 years old. He's a freshman. Franz Wagner is 9 months younger than him, and he's a sophomore. Franz Wagner is 19. Franz Wagner is younger than Evan Mobley.
Yeah,
by like 3 months.
I got it. I get it. I mean, I still like. I only put so much stock into the 19, 20-year-old. You know, like yes, you're projecting. Obviously, there's.
Well, no. Like here's the thing. Like part of the reason why John Beilein was so successful in recruiting at Michigan and finding guys that were under the radar was because like he was very much into the whole birthday thing. He was very much into the idea that like, hey, if we get younger guys that aren't fully developed yet, we can kind of, it's like a blank slate. We can work with them. That's part of.
He learned that from Stu Douglas. You know, he screwed up with Stu, and then he decided, you know.
Well, there you go. But yeah, I mean, Franz is just, he does all of the things that you want like a glue guy to do. Right. Yeah. Like he can make threes. He can beat people off the bounce. The ball doesn't stick with him. It keeps moving. He's a really good passer and playmaker. He can defend the rim. He's an on-ball defender. He can play big and he's tough. Like
I love him. I think Livers is going to be a really good NBA player too. I do. He's got the size. He can shoot it. He can guard. He needs to get better putting on the floor, but I think Livers will be a really good NBA player.
He's I think he's going to be like for me, he's kind of like a second round pick. Probably a guy that could catch on with like a two-way contract, and then Hunter Dickinson will probably end up being like maybe a first rounder, maybe a late first rounder, just because he's so big and so dominant. But
it'd be hard. It'll be hard.
There's limitations to what he can do.
I think he's a second rounder.
And then, but like for Ohio State, I think. And tell me what you think about this, Chef. I think the biggest difference that we saw between Ohio State and everyone else that we consider like the top 2 or 3 teams is that Michigan doesn't beat themselves. Baylor doesn't do things to beat themselves. Gonzaga doesn't do things to beat themselves. And Ohio State beat themselves. Part of it.
But they listen, it's one game. It's one game. They've won a lot of really good games.
It is. What did Chris Holtmann tell you about coaching Dwayne Washington? You remember that quote?
Listen, absolutely. He
well,
drives some crazy.
Before you go, just 3 things. What I'm referring to is Justice Suing with about 2 minutes and 30 seconds left threw a behind the back pass. That wasn't like the behind the back wasn't necessarily the wrong decision. It was just a terrible pass because there was no one there to receive it. They were down by 3 at the time. Isaiah Livers goes the other way, gets a layup and 1. All of a sudden, it's a 6-point lead with 2:30 left. Game's basically over. Dwayne Washington twice in the final minute and a half on possessions where Ohio State absolutely had to get a stop. Got one time he got blown by like he wasn't even there by Eli Brooks that set up a tip dunk for Hunter Dickinson. And the other time, like he randomly doubled Isaiah Livers on the perimeter and it created a layup for, I think it was Shaundi Brown. Either way, like they got 4 free points because of bad decisions made by Dwayne Washington. And actually 7 if you want to throw in the behind the back pass by Justice Suing. And here's the thing. Good teams, like they don't make those mistakes ever.
Well, I think part of it is, the Justice Suing one is kind of the most glaring, right? And to me, the biggest thing I question still with Ohio State is their point guard play. That's the difference to me. Is I just, I think Walker's solid, but like I think they're missing that high-end point guard at Ohio State who can just go get a bucket on their own. Now, Dwayne Washington was terrific yesterday in terms of shot making, keeping them in the game early when Michigan was making every 3. But ultimately, I'd like to see, and that's where honestly, I think Chris Holtmann's done wonders in his coaching career. Without a high level, has he ever had a high level point guard? He didn't have one at Butler. He didn't have one at Butler for 3 years.
Not really.
Right. He's never had a high level point guard. He thought he had one with DJ Carton. Like that was the hope was this team this year would have TJ Carton running the team and being able to make plays off the bounce for himself and for others. Obviously that didn't work out. So they've gone to plan B and C and even D this year with the freshmen that they brought in at the break. I don't know. I mean, again, I never wanted to put Ohio State in the top 5. I never wanted to. But you had to. Based on what they did, you had to. And to me, now I would say, like, I'm just more impressed with Ohio State after watching them yesterday because when you look at their talent level compared to Michigan, you said, like, they shouldn't be playing with them. Michigan's that much better. Like you said, they have 3 NBA players possibly on their team. Ohio State might have 1, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I'm with you. It was a great game.
Hell of a game, though. The game lived up to the hype. That was the great part of yesterday was it was the only game on Sunday. Actually, it didn't get enough publicity, to be honest. It didn't get enough hype. It should have gotten more nationally. It did not. And again, those, people that hammer the sport, college basketball, hopefully they got a chance to see that. And just the way the game can be played. There are some ugly games. We know that. College basketball hasn't been pretty this year, but ultimately that game, hopefully we have that type of play come Final Four. And I think if you have Gonzaga and Baylor and Michigan, you're going to have at least eye-pleasing basketball from a shot-making standpoint.
Yeah.
I'd take Michigan on a neutral court again. If they played again, I would take them again. We're getting that question in the chat.
Yeah, I would take Michigan again. And Michigan just won at Ohio State in the game where it wasn't like Ohio State gave.
Right.
I said Ohio State kind of like made mistakes that lost in the game. Michigan probably would have won that game even if Ohio State didn't make those mistakes. They were up by 3 with 2.5 minutes left. So like it was All right, let's talk about tonight's slate. We have Syracuse at Duke. Duke is a 5-point favorite. That total is 150. We have Oregon at USC in a battle for supremacy in the Pac-12. USC is currently at Bed Rivers, a 3.5-point favorite. The total there is 138. We have Oklahoma State at home against the Fighting Chris Beers and the Fighting Mac McClungs. And Oklahoma State is getting 3.5 points. That total there is also 138, according to our partners over at Bet Rivers Sportsbook. Jeffrey, how are you feeling about this?
So I'm going to start with the one I like the most, and that is anytime you're giving me 4 points, and my coach is Dana Altman, I'm going to take it. I'm going to take those 4 points, and I like it. I get USC is talented with Evan Mobley. I totally understand that. But, again, Oregon, Dana Altman getting 4 against Andy Enfield, I feel pretty good about it. I do. And USC is just coming off a loss at Arizona. I think
that's my thing with it. Like it feels like a kind of a good buy low spot on USC.
For Oregon. I mean, for USC. For
USC. It feels like a good buy low spot. And the other thing that I'm concerned about, and you tell me what you think about this. Like, so it's kind of like a differing match, or like a differing styles of play and styles of roster building, right? Like USC plays 2 bigs. They have 7-foot Evan Mobley and 6'10" Isaiah Mobley out there. Oregon plays all perimeter guys, right? Like their best lineup is basically like 6'6" Eugene Omoruyi, 6'6" Chris Duarte, 6'6" Eric Williams, 6'5" Will Richardson, and 6'6" LJ Figueroa. And what I'm concerned about is that both of the Mobley brothers are good enough to defend on the perimeter that like it kind of negates the advantage that Oregon gets by playing small, right? And then you still have to deal with like Evan Mobley's not the greatest post defender, but like he's pretty good. He's good enough, right? Or I mean, the greatest post scorer, but he's good enough where he can probably take advantage of some of these smaller defenders. So that's where my concern with USC comes in. And in theory, that would be baked into the price, but like this is more or less like you generally get like 3 points for home court advantage. And they're basically saying like USC is just slightly better than Oregon, which is what I kind of think. So I actually think this is a pretty sharp line.
You think USC today, if they played on a neutral court, you think USC it's a pick 'em? You're saying USC's favored by a point, maybe even more because home court advantage isn't 3 points this year.
Well, yeah, I think USC would probably be favored by like a point or a point and a half on a neutral court. Like right now, Ken Palmer's projecting him as a 6-point favorite, and some of that has to do with the fact that like Oregon is like their numbers in Ken Palm's database are kind of skewed because they missed so much time and they had a couple of bad COVID losses. But like it's to me. I think the line is pretty sharp. So I don't know where the edge is in this game, but like I don't want to be so the stat that Stanford Steve dropped on us the other day, right? Like Oregon's like 77-47 against the spread in Pac-12 play for Dana Altman. Like that's just ridiculous. Yes. It's Dana Altman. I don't want to be on the wrong side of Dana Altman when it comes to this stuff. So I don't know. I'm really excited about this game itself. I don't love the betting angle.
You know what I'm excited about? That it's at 9 o'clock and not 10 o'clock.
Oh, that's going to be great.
Right? I mean, seriously, how beautiful. You got 2 good games at 9. Again, I know you hate Chris Beard. You hate Mac McClung. You're down on Kate Cunningham. You think this game sucks. You think Texas Tech, Oklahoma State is like a garbage game tonight.
I don't think it's a garbage game, but it's like it's not something that I'm overly – I was fired up to watch Ohio State and Michigan, right? Like I was fired up.
Well, they're number 3 and 4. I get it. It's not going to be.
But here's the thing: I was fired up for Saturday's slate where we had all of these great games, and now it's like, okay, Syracuse-Duke, mildly interesting.
These are interesting.
Oregon USC like will be fun for like a battle for first place in the Pac-12, but like. It's also like first place in the Pac-12, and neither of those teams are really all that good. And then like it's Texas Tech is 6-6 in the Big 12. Like,
you have listen. According to you have the 2 guys that are fighting for the number 1 pick, both on tonight at the exact same time. You could have them on 2 TVs right next to each other and watch Cade and Evan Mobley. Like that doesn't excite you? Am I getting you excited?
I'm good to go, Jeffrey. I
All
am.
right.
I'm
trying. I'm trying.
I am good to
Trying
go.
here.
And the best part is, like, you're asking me if you're getting me excited. This isn't even the Cialis part of the ad.
Not yet. Not yet. No.
Oh, not yet. Oh man, that's how you know we're too far into the season when we start making jokes like this.
All right. So we got Oregon. You like USC.
Real quick before we continue, I just want to tell you guys a little bit about our partners over at BetRivers Sportsbook. If you haven't signed up with BetRivers yet, now is the time. BetRivers Sportsbook is offering a $250 match bonus for your first deposit, but what sets them apart is that they require just one playthrough to turn your bonus into cash money. When you win at BetRivers Sportsbook, they pay fast, and now it's even faster with Rush Pay. Instant approval for withdrawals. It's safe, it's secure, it's reliable. With March Madness right around the corner, there's never been a better time to give BetRivers Sportsbook a try. So go to betrivers.com today or download the BetRivers iOS app. If you use promo code 250MATCH, you will receive that $250 bonus on your first deposit. You can see it right there on the bottom of the screen. You're looking at it right now. So yes, go to betrivers.com, download the BetRivers iOS app. You must be 21 years or older. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Jeffrey, let's talk about Syracuse and Duke. We don't need to go into any more takes about whether or not Duke is better with Jalen Johnson.
No, we're done with that. We're done.
Way too much time about that on yesterday's stream. So how do you feel about this specific game?
I love it. I love this game. Anytime you get Boeheim and K together.
By the way, we had a burner account pop up in the comments and said you are making me excited, Jeff. It's got to be the Nationals head. That's what it is.
No doubt. Boeheim, K. Boeheim, stuck up for his boy K with the Jalen Johnson situation. But I think, honestly, this is a big game for both teams. It really is. It's a big game for both teams. Duke's coming off the huge one against Virginia. They're rolling now. They got some confidence. They're young guys. They're playing well. And they get a Syracuse team that is desperate, really desperate, because they're on the outside looking in right now for the NCAA tournament. But if they win this one, they might be on the right side of the bubble, or certainly they're closer to the right side of the bubble. Syracuse has been playing with fire a little bit. They're not great. I honestly think they've underachieved, Rob. I think this team, when you look at their talent overall, I think they should be a tournament team. And frankly, I don't really understand why they're not at this point, because they've got two, Buddy Boeheim didn't shoot the ball great for a stretch. He's shooting the ball better now. They've Joe Girard, he's not really a point guard, but like Alan Griffin was a great pickup from Illinois. Great pickup. He's been their best player for the most part overall this year. And Quincy Guerrier has been really good. So, I guess it's the zone more than anything. The zone just isn't as effective with two guards that really don't have a ton of length, without a true big in the middle of the 2-3 zone.
They've also won 3 in a row. They've won 4 out of 5, and they have won 6 of their last 8 games. And I think that's worth noting. They started out ACC played 1-3. They're now 7-5 in the league. They're 13-6 overall. The biggest thing with Syracuse is they had so many COVID pauses and COVID shutdowns in the preseason and early on in the season that it took them so long to finally actually establish any kind of rhythm. And I hate to use that as the reason for all of these teams that are struggling, but it's kind of the reason that all of these teams are struggling is that they get shut down for 2 weeks. Yep. And I do think that, so we talk about how bad the ACC is, right? Well, the ACC also, the regulations are different across conferences. And Big Ten teams, Sasha Stefanovic tested positive on a Tuesday. Hey, we got a call today. How about that one? Not just a day, call. There you go. Sasha Stefanovic at Purdue tested positive on a Tuesday or on a Wednesday, and Purdue played on a Friday. Would that have happened with the team in the ACC?
Yeah.
So there's been more continuity in terms of practices for the teams in the other leagues. So that's part of the reason why we're sitting here with the ACC and we're like, why do these teams keep having these issues? Well, look, Louisville has they don't practice and they go out and they lose by 40, right? That's happened to them twice. So maybe that has more to do with what's happening around the program and with the practices than it does with the players on the actual roster. So that's just kind of, and look, again, we're starting to see. I know they haven't really beaten anyone. Like it was Virginia Tech at home was a nice win, but beyond that, it's just kind of not great wins for Syracuse. But 6 out of 8, that's pretty good. And now they have a chance to go win at Duke. Here's what Syracuse closed with: they're at Duke, they're at Georgia Tech, and they get North Carolina at home. Those are 3 quad 1/quad 2 opportunities. You win 2 out of 3, and all of a sudden, like you're right there in the mix.
So you're taking the Cuse in the 5 points?
Oh man,
you're trying to talk me into it. I feel like you're all over this.
I think I actually like Duke here, and it does not make me feel comfortable because fading Duke has been super profitable all season long. But I just think that Duke. I don't think that Syracuse necessarily has the guards to be able to take advantage of like the places where there are mismatches in this Duke roster. And Duke has enough shooters and enough guys that can kind of rotate into that high post spot. Like this is going to be a game where they actually miss Jalen Johnson. Like rolling Jalen Johnson into the high post against that zone with his ability to pass is something that would be really beneficial to Duke in the spot. But like DJ Stewart's got to go on. Matthew Hurt has not missed a shot in like a month and a half. Jeremy
awesome.
Roach has gotten a little bit better. Like, so I am kind of worried about the fact that they do have 2 guards that haven't shot it great, but like I don't know. I think I like.
I'm going to go with the over. I am going to go with the over.
Over 150.
149.5.
Yeah,
I think so. I don't know. I feel like these teams every time they play, it's high scoring. I'm going over.
I guess
I'm going over. I don't have a great feel on the. I would probably take the points if you gave me a choice, but I'm gonna go over 149.5. I'm gonna take Oregon in the 4, and Texas Tech, Oklahoma State. Got to have something on it. Got to go with Beard in the bounce back. I'm going Beard in the bounce back. I don't love it. Yeah, you know what, boy, it's a tough one. It's a really tough one to go against Cade at home.
I kind of like Oklahoma State in this spot.
Yeah, you know what? I might kind of.
You know why? It's because of the defense that I expect Oklahoma State to be in. That like kind of matchup zone that doesn't really let you run offense. You need guys that are going to be able to kind of beat somebody one-on-one in against that defense. And I'm not convinced that Texas Tech necessarily has those guys. If you remember the first time that they played, it was at Texas Tech, and like Oklahoma State probably should have lost in regulation. There was that kind of BS foul call on Cade Cunningham at the end of regulation, but it went to overtime. So, and that was before Oklahoma State was really like they were 0-2 in the. I'm sorry, Oklahoma State won in overtime. I just want to be clear on that. So, I do think that the Pokes are the play here. So I kind of like them at home getting the points. I might even take the money line. The money line is plus 143 at Bet Rivers right now. So it's something that would interest me. Joe said Duke's got a lot of momentum. Well, they
do. He's right. I'm also going to go. Even though they've had some rest, both of these teams, SEMO and Southern Illinois Edwardsville are both playing tonight at home. They're both at home.
You love fading them, man. You love it.
Well, I just feel like it's taken its toll on them. That's all. I feel like it's taken its toll. I know they've gotten some rest lately, especially I think SEMO has gotten more rest than Edwardsville. Edwardsville still, man. They've lost 4 in a row. They've played on the 13th, 15th, 18th, 20th. I mean, if you go through it, January 30th, 1st, 2nd, 4th, 6th, 8th, 11th, 13th, 15th, 18th, 20th. And now 22 again against Moorhead. So that's the one I like better. I like Moorhead, given the 11. Moorhead's fighting for the league title. Like Preston Spradling's done an unbelievable job getting that program back on track. But I'm also going to take Eastern Kentucky. They've done a good job this year. A.W. Hamilton has. So I'm going to take those 2. I'm going to take the over in Syracuse-Duke. And I'm going to take Dana Altman and the Oregon Ducks. And then I'm also going to take Central Arkansas. New Orleans is giving 4.5. So Central Arkansas is getting 4.5. New Orleans has played 1 game since January 30th. So that's a long time to play 1 game, to have that kind of start and stop. I almost feel like that's worse than having a break of like 3 weeks straight, to have like one game and then have more time off. So I'm going with Central Arkansas there.
I like the logic. I don't hate it.
All right.
Are you going to take the Fighting Terrence Johnsons in Texas State?
Oh, I kind of like that one. Yeah, I did. I did like that one against Arkansas State. Give him 4. Maybe. I'm going to look at that one a little bit longer. I got to look at some Swagshin too later. I mean, I thought about going with Wayne Brent and Jackson State. And then when I heard the whole Deion fiasco happen last night, I got a little scared off. A lot of drama going on with Jackson State football. You didn't hear?
No.
They played their first game. Deion Sanders, his first game as head coach at Jackson State, and his shit got stolen, almost stolen. Yeah, in the locker room. Yeah, people supposedly. You never know with Deion. I mean, it's such drama. You never know what to believe, what's going on, whatever. But Deion, I guess he had his stuff in like a plastic zip bag or something, his phone, and not his jewelry. I think his jewelry he always has on him now. But his phone and some other stuff, and somebody tried to steal it, and I think they caught him stealing it, supposedly.
What?
But they won. They won like 56-0 against like I don't know, some Edward Burns.
Why are we playing college football games right now? What is happening?
I don't know. They pushed them back. They pushed some of these smaller leagues back. So, Deion, baby, Deion.
There you go. All right. Yeah. So I'm putting in my bets on BetSperts right now. Follow us there. That is the best place for you to be able to get the most up to date information if we have lineup stuff and player availability stuff coming in. But what I have right now, I took Oklahoma State in the points. I took USC in the points. I took Duke. And I also have a little sprinkle on the Oklahoma State money line and the Oregon money line. You talked me into the Ducks. It's just the simple.
Two words. Dana Altman.
Dana Altman. That line's also moving. It's you can get Oregon at +4 now. So,
Rob, you sound much more excited than when we started this stream. So I've done that.
Well, that's because I talked to you, man. I talked to you. So, all right. We will see you guys again